Okay, so again, welcome to our October Portfolio Lead monthly office hours. Today, we're going to be talking primarily about how to check to see if your teachers have all been rostered in the platform. If you are a district or charter portfolio lead who has not submitted your roster, you will want to submit your roster before you can apply the things that we learned today. Um, Roster submission is due no later than Friday, October the 28th. But most of you have submitted, and today our session is going to be about how to check your teachers to make sure they all are in Portfolium. I'm going to show you how to check the reporting section. I'm also going to talk to you about how to add or remove teachers. Once you check the reporting, you may find someone who got left off the roster, the original roster, and I'll show you how to add them. Or you may find someone who needs to be removed from your roster. So we'll talk about that. We'll go over some next steps and support. So let's jump right in. All of you have district administrator access. So when you log into Portfolium, you want to be sure when you log in that you are in the role district administrator. You may remember that we also gave you teacher access so that you can go in as a teacher. Although we know you're not a teacher, a portfolio teacher, we did give you that role so you could see what they see. That role will be removed as it gets closer to submission date. So that's why you want to make sure you're in the role district administrator. If you were a district administrator in prior years, you'll see several years in the drop down. So you want to make sure you're in this current year, 22, 23. And then what you'll do is over to your left, you'll see the word user directory. And I have blacked out these names just, oops, for security reasons, but you'll want to check first your user directory. These are all of the teachers that have an account for your district. So you want to check to see, is their name spelled correctly? Do we have the correct email? Is your district ID? The district ID and school ID most likely are going to be correct, or they wouldn't be in your list. So if you see someone not here, that could be a problem. And the teacher license number as well, they have all been verified. So most likely those are all correct. The next thing you're going to do after you've checked to see if all of your portfolio teachers are here, is you want to look over here for this active. If they are green, that lets you know they have logged in. They have activated their account. They have their login and they have set a password. That's all activation means. It doesn't mean they've necessarily gotten started, but they have logged in. If you see anyone that does not have a green circle, then that's a red flag that you'll want to talk to them. It could be maybe they are still waiting on an activation email. Everyone has been sent that activation email, with the exception of anyone who was submitted within the last 5 days. It does take about 7 days once you submit it to me for us to get it live in the platform. So if you sent your roster in and you don't see green here, but you see their name, then if they're here, know that they were sent an activation email. If they're new, if they were a portfolio user last year, their password is the same as last year, so they can go ahead and log in. So you want to just make sure all green circles and talk to your teachers if they don't have a green circle. The next thing you want to do is on that same, and I'll go back right under user directory, you'll see this word reporting. So then you'll want to click on the reporting tab. In the middle of your screen, you'll see a chart. This is what my chart looked like. Yours will look a little bit different. You want to click here on the word teachers. This will take you to your teacher roster report. So that's the next step, is click on the word teachers. When you do that, you're going to get an Excel file that'll download. When you get in that Excel file, I want to talk about what these columns mean first, and then I'll show you the file. You'll see the year. These first few things are the things that came right off your roster. The year, your district's name, ID, the school ID, their license number, first name, last name, email address. If for some reason, maybe you saw in your user directory, someone didn't have a green circle, and then you check this roster report, it may be maybe that the wrong email was submitted or there was a typo in the email. If this email is incorrect, then the wrong email was getting the activation. So that could be one of your issues. So check all of this information that's in your roster report. And then you'll notice some of these other columns, and we get lots of questions about what they mean. So I want to go through each one. The column that says teacher effectiveness indicator, that will be the column where your teacher's final portfolio scores will pop up. When they populate, and that will be after peer review closes, I will send all of you an email. You will see that number before teachers. I typically like to get that to you at least a week, sometimes 2 weeks before teachers can see it, so that you can check, make sure everybody has a score. If you have any questions, we can look at that before we release it to teachers. So this is where you'll see that final score. The next column, you'll see the word portfolio model. And this is really important because when you look at your report, if that box is empty, then that is your signal to know your teacher may have a green circle. That means they logged in, but they have not selected their model or set up their collections. So if that box has pre-K, K, first, second, PE, fine arts, world language, if it has the model name in it, then you know they have been in and they have set up their account. If it's blank, you want to have a conversation with the teachers to see if they're having trouble setting up their model. Everyone, it should be reviewable. Everybody that's in there should be. If there's any zeros in that column, let us know. But everybody should have a 1 because they should all be reviewable once they get in and get activated. As we get closer, and we'll talk about this in our spring portfolio office hours, you'll want to start checking to see if their portfolios are complete. At this time, they should all be 0. No one is complete. Teachers don't typically collect their point Bs until spring. When it's 100% complete, all 4 collections, all A's, all B's, all have been self-scored. When it's completely finished, you'll see the number 1 in that box. So if they have a 0 in that box, as we get close to the deadline, you will know they are they're close to being incomplete. So you want to make sure everybody is complete. Imported, there should be a 1 there. Everybody has been imported if they're in your roster. They've all been granted access. That should have 1s in it. Activated, you can see what date they activated their account. This was access removed as a hot topic question. So as I said, we're going to talk about how you can add or delete teachers from the platform. So anybody that you roster, their name is going to be here in this report. If you have had them removed, maybe they've already moved. We've had several portfolio leads already email us and say, oops, I rostered so-and-so. They're not teaching in that portfolio model, or I rostered so-and-so and they're not working here anymore. If you remove them, they're no longer in your user directory with the green circles, but they're always in this report. You will see a 1 by their name if they were removed. So when you're filtering to see who is complete, clearly the ones with the 1 will not be complete because they're not active. They're gone, but you will always see them in your report. So don't let that trip you up. And then the last 2 columns are just what date did you generate the report and who generated that report, which would be you. So here's an example, and I just kind of blacked out those first columns with all their school information. Here's J, where you would see their portfolio score. Here's a good example where you can see this district, only 3 teachers, a pre-KK and first grade teacher. They're the only ones who have activated and set up their models. So all of these teachers have not gone in yet. That's not a huge red flag in October. Most of them are just getting, it's roster season. So right now everybody's getting rostered, getting their accounts activated. After Christmas, you should anticipate most people have set up their models. As I said, they won't be complete. You shouldn't see a 1 here until you know your district has completed their point Bs. Um, Here is where I want you to notice this teacher has a 0 for activated, and this teacher has a 0. Lost my mouse. This teacher has it. You see several have zeros for activated. So those are the ones who most likely don't have a green circle. So you will know they have not logged in. They have not set up their passwords. So that's a red flag. But you'll notice that this one that did not, excuse me, my mouse is going crazy. This one didn't activate, but then when I glance over, I can also see that this teacher was removed from this district's roster. So if they have a 1, they were removed, then they will stay 0. They won't be activated. So I'll give you just a second to look over that. So now let's talk about once you check these things, once you check your roster report, you've checked your user directory, and you find people who need to be added or you find teachers who need to be removed. What you're going to complete is a teacher roster add remove template. When I put this PowerPoint up on the team website with this recording, this will be a hyperlink, so you can just click directly on it to get that template. When you pull this template up, and I will show you on the next slide an example, you will need to put a reason on the template. Why does the teacher need to be removed? Why does the teacher need to be added after the due date? Here are some examples. These are just a few. They're not the only reasons, but these are some of the most common I have seen. The most common is they got left off the original. It was an accident. We all make those, so it very well could be you just left someone off. Another example is someone got hired after you had already submitted the roster, and they are not PYE. They're going to have the full-time 120 or more days. Lately, a very common one that I've gotten this week is the teacher just received their TLN, that's their license number. So those teachers that you couldn't roster at the beginning because they didn't have a license, as they start coming in, they're not new. They weren't left off they were left off intentionally. They didn't have a license. So you need to add them as those come in. So as you get these situations, you just fill out that add remove template, and you can write in the reason box any of those reasons. If there's a reason other than one of these 3, you can put that in there. And if it's questionable, portfolio questions will get back with you. Some reasons that districts typically remove is the first one is an exemption. You may remember from previous office hours we talked about on page 11, there are some examples of teachers who shouldn't have been rostered. So it may be when you're looking at that, you realized, oh, this music teacher goes to 3 different schools in our district. Teachers who teach in 3 different schools, they're exempt. They should not be on the roster. It could be if you're doing pre-K portfolios that you realize that's a 3-year-old pre-K class. All 3-year-olds, the teacher, 3-year-old pre-K does not do a portfolio. It's a 4-year-old portfolio. So you may realize that and need to pull them out. That's happened. After Christmas in our January meeting, that's where most districts start marking people PYE. Either they don't come back after Christmas or they just get hired in January. Then again, we'll talk about what PYE means. I did hyperlink the law around PYE here for you. So you can see, I will tell you that when you put someone needs to be removed for PYE, before we can remove them, they must have that marking NT Encompass. So be sure that those go hand in hand. If you're not the evaluation configurator for your district, you want to make sure you're talking to the evaluation configurator or the principal. I believe they can also mark PYE. You may be able to mark it, but if they are going to be removed because they are PYE, be sure that it's marked NT Encompass. And then again, some just leave the district and they just get removed from T Encompass. And if that happens, they're going to not be a portfolio teacher. So you need to take them out. So from now until January, just keep monitoring these reports. Anything you notice, send in your add and remove template. And then in January, when we get back together, I will show you how to do a roster verification to let us know that, yep, our roster's good. These are our final teachers. We'll talk, like I said, January is a very popular month for PYE, so we'll talk about PYE in January as well. This is what the roster template will look like. I did put here, and I will be sure, Portfolio Questions will email you all the template as well. So if you already know you have people that you may want to go ahead and get started on this add and remove. Also remember, if you're one of the few who has not submitted your original roster yet, you don't do the add and remove. We need your original roster first before you can do any of the things that we've talked about in today's session. But if you've already submitted and you can pull a report, then you do the add remove template. And you only put the people that you want to add and remove. Don't send us your entire roster report. This template should only have the people that you need us to take out or to put in. And again, you can just write very short reason here so we know why we're taking them out and why we're adding them after the deadline. So your next steps, review your user directory first, see if everyone has that green circle. If they don't, have a conversation with the teachers and see if maybe they need help. It's common that teachers who had accounts last year are sitting around waiting for an activation email. If they had an account last year and their email's the same, their school's the same, if everything's the same, they didn't get an activation email. They're already activated. They just need to log in with their same information. Review your roster report in Portfolium. Make sure everybody is there. Make sure everybody has activated and check to see if they have selected their model. And then finally, as you see people who need to be added or removed, send that template in to portfolio.questions and we will take care of any corrections that need to be made. We are not going to meet in November or December. I know that's the very busy time of vacations and holiday breaks. So you have the rest of this semester just to get your rosters in order, and we will come back in January and I will show you the roster verification process, which I think is going to be easier this year. We've got a new process for doing that. So I'll review that with you in January and talk about PYEs. In the meantime, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email us at portfolio.questions. The turnaround should be within 24 hours. So we try to get your questions answered as fast as we can so you can get on with business. This PowerPoint and this recording will be up on the team website. It typically takes me about 48 hours to get that. So as soon as that's done, it will be on the team website. You go to the team website, growth, portfolio resources, and hover over portfolio resources, and you will see the 22-23 portfolio lead office hours and all of the meetings that we've had so far this year. The PowerPoints and the recordings will be there. I'm going to pause now, and Amy, turn it over to you for questions.
Okay, you have, excuse me, you have a few questions about emails. So teachers that are new to the platform, they have not received an email yet. What do they need to do about that?
Everybody that is in the user directory received an email. It came from Instructure. Again, unless you submitted the roster last week.
Okay.
If you go in as district administrator and you see their name in the user directory, the email beside their name, that's their username. So if somebody says they didn't receive it, it could be in the junk email. It could be they didn't recognize Instructure, that's where it's going to come from, that company. It could be that it just, they didn't see it, or it's in junk. they can go to the edu.portfolium.com. The link is on that portfolio resources page. They can just log in to Portfolium, use that email. That email that's on your user directory is everybody's username. They can click forgot password, and the platform will resend them and activate, set a new password.
Okay, thank you. I have a person who is an additional portfolio lead and she can't get logged in. What should she do?
I'm going to ask a clarifying question. This is someone who was added by the portfolio lead to be a district administrator in the platform?
Miss Lockhart, if you can come off mute and.
It's okay. I know, I think I know Miss Lock from Millington. They're in all and I'll just double check real quick. I'm sure she's in there. She was submitted by Millington. If you can hear me, Miss Lockhart, let's see. Yeah, she's in there. She has not activated. So if you were added as a district administrator, or if you're a portfolio lead and you just think you don't have access yet, every portfolio lead and everyone who was submitted as a district administrator, I have you all in there. You don't all have green checks. So that means you haven't logged in. If you will go to the same thing that I said about teachers, go to Portfolium, to the website. I'll drop that in the chat, the login. You just go to the site and your email is your username, and then click forgot password, and they'll set you up a new password.
Okay. They have a teacher with the wrong ID listed. How do they edit it so that that teacher can get her green circle?
What do you mean by the wrong, which ID? District ID, school ID?
School ID.
But they're in the right district. They just got put in the wrong school in that district?
Yes.
Email portfolio questions and just tell me, because I'll have to take them out and put them back in. But that shouldn't affect them logging in. It would mean if they were a prior user, it's not recognizing them from last year, so they would have to probably set a new, it's not good. If they're wrong, let's fix it.
So they need to email Portfolium questions.
Email portfolio questions and tell me that when they do that, checking the reports, they don't need to go on the add remove template. You just send me an email with the teacher's name and license number and tell me that you need to correct the school ID. And I'll take them out and put them back in. Now, I will say there were some that Portfolium, I did have to go in and change some of the school IDs. And I don't know if the person asking this question if this is you, but there were some who put a school ID number and it kicked it out of Portfolium because that was not the school ID number in Portfolium. It was not the school ID number that was connecting to T Encompass. So if you happen to be one of those that may have put the wrong ID, if it was in all the new schools, there was a lot of new schools that we had to add to the platform because they were new this year. So if it's one of those, but email me one-offs and I'll work with you to get it fixed.
Okay. We've gotten a couple about on the report spreadsheet, they don't see the teacher effectiveness column. Is that supposed to be there now?
It may be that the column is either hidden or won't be there until closer to May. Because there's nothing's going to populate there until the scores come up. So that could be why you don't see it yet. Everybody will see it when the scores come up. All the portfolio leads will see it.
Okay, so do we also send the spreadsheet to add, remove if we need to change an address?
No, that's a one-off.
They can just change the address. When will point A be due?
Now, I will say, go back to that. If you change the teacher's email address, you are changing their login. So just be careful of that, because the email that's in there is their one they got for login. Now some were personal emails, and maybe the teacher wants it to be their school email. Again, it's just going to have now's the time to do it, because it's going to reset them before they start putting work in. So email portfolio questions.
Okay, when will point A be due, roughly?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's also a misconception. The department does not require point A to be due on a certain date. I will give you best practice as a former kindergarten teacher myself. Teachers most likely are all collecting their point A's now, or if they have already collected them. So they collect a point A on all of their students, and they sort it by high, medium, and low, and then it sits there. In those, you may paper clip them. Some teachers go ahead and self-score that point A with a Post-it note, however you want to do it. But they just hold their point A's for all, let's say I had 20 kids. Then you collect, and you don't submit that to the platform. You just hold it. And then you do your point B at the end of the semester, at the end of learning. So if you think of point A as the beginning of learning, point B is at the end of learning, then they'll do the point B assessment on all their students, put the point B with the point A students' work. And what I'm explaining is all in the teacher guidebook under purposeful sampling. I'm not sure the exact page number. For some reason, page 7 is coming to mind, but it's around there. It's a section called purposeful sampling. So when they have all their A's and all their B's, they'll take their lowest group that they sorted and see which student demonstrates the most growth for how the teacher grew the emerging kids. That one